Well, today we've got a masterclass going on, and this masterclass here will be covering how to get that perfect job that's going to line up really well with your background and with your skills. And we're going to record this one. I don't think we have any live people right now, but certainly, if you're watching this, I hope that you get a lot of value. My purpose is to give you a ton of value and to, kind of move you along the way in your path. So let's go ahead and get this, get a whiteboard up and just kind of whiteboard this. All right. And so make sure this is going. Here we go. All right. So let's go ahead and get the title up here. Getting the easiest, this may vary from what I advertised, easiest job based on your background in tech, based on your background. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and quickly check the title. And let me make sure that I'm not. Yeah, here we go. Let me check that real quick. And so if you are watching this recording, I want to make sure that you know to stay here till the end, because I'm going to be giving, and I may not put it on the screen, so it may just be an audio. So stay till the end. If you're just watching this and you can't have audio, and in audio, I will present an offer for you. So I want to make sure you not only get this great deal here by being on this masterclass, but also that you get value moving forward, like a special treat. And so it will be of high value to you if you stick out to the end. All right, so since this is a masterclass, I'm going to be using this whiteboard quick here, and 45 minutes. We'll see if we can go 45. I will, I've got that advertised here, but without live Q&A, I don't think I'll make it to the 45, but I want to give you full value. So let's get going here. All right, so you may be looking straight away at your current job, and I want to kind of explode your current job for a minute. So in your current job, you have location. I'm trying to get you to think. You have on-site or remote. You have, let's see what else you could have. Full-time versus part-time. So these are, you may be working in a situation where you've got, FTE, we call it. So you're going to see this FTE. See that. All right. You could be in a situation where you've got, let's see, what else do we have? We have a contract. You could have a contract, but we'll call it contract status or presence. You also could have a situation where you are, let's see what else I got in my notes here. But yeah, so you've got a current market, industry. All right, so you can acknowledge that these are all variables. Let's get this bigger here. So these are all variables within your current job. And you recognize that these statuses could affect your current job. So when you're looking for your next one, you need to be very, very careful that you don't simply assume that your next job will be the same. So one of the mistakes that you could make is that when you go into your current job, every day, you're kind of excited. Wow, these lines stick. Okay, I'm learning about this whiteboard the more I do it. All right, so you could be, let's focus on location. You could think, all right, for my tech job, you could be thinking, okay, I'm going to be in the Twin Cities. That's where I'm at. The Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul area for my next position. You could assume that. You could also assume, you're in your current job, you may have a part-time status or a contract status. You could assume that your first tech job is going to also be contract, or you might say, I'm going to assume it's going to be no contract. So you'd be direct hire. Let's just put this over here as a direct hire. Or contract. You could also assume, let's put this over here, sort of in the wrong area, but that's okay. Short term versus long term. All right, so you could make assumptions also, but one assumption that people don't make is that they're going to be in the same industry. All right, so this becomes sort of an opening for you. When you're looking for your first tech job, you want to start to think, what sort of industry should I be in? Now, you might think, it's the tech industry, but this is too broad. I would suggest that you start looking in the same industry. Let's put another little tech job, or first tech job. Let's put a little node here, as it were, to let's just do it this way. All right. So you need to start thinking about leveraging the current market or industry that you're in. Okay. One of the benefits of being in the same industry as you switch is that you are going to get a lot of credit from your previous or current industry by staying in the same industry. So let's put a little point up here. This is a highlight of this program, this masterclass today, because you're going to get a lot of credibility staying here. And the reason for that is because they think if you provided value in your current market or industry, then, as your current job, then they're going to assume that you know a lot of the subject matter expertise topics in that market or industry that you're currently in. So tech is not an industry. I mean, it could be categorized by that, but that's not what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about is the type of customers that you serve. the type of business that you're currently in today. That is what I'm talking about. That is your current market or industry. And this right here is synergy when you start looking for your first tech job. Okay? But let me propose. Every other variable should be up in the air. Other than market or industry. Every other variable should be up in the air. All right, so without having anyone here on the call with me, it is a little bit of a guesstimate here, what you're thinking in your mind, but let me take a guess. I'm going to guess that you might be wondering, what does that mean? Every other variable should be up in the air. Trust me, if you're watching this recording, I'm not trying to make it cryptic just so I can ask questions, but in my mind, you can't see in my mind, but what I mean by this, every other variable is every one of these other things should be up in the air. And what I mean by that is you should be willing to be flexible in all of these. All right, so in this masterclass, nothing super high tech or flashy here. I have charts and stuff in this in my program, my mentorship, strategic mentorship program. But for this masterclass today, let's just talk shop on some of these. Let me get my pointer so I'm not always highlighting all this editing tools. So let's give an example. All right, your market or industry is in music. All right, you're in the music industry. I'm taking from my own background, okay? So I hope that you can apply to your own as you watch this. My current job used to be in music. So I'd work for churches as a music director. I would, play violin for weddings, for concerts, for orchestras. I'd get paid for all of this. All right. So music was basically my industry. You could say it was like church. You could say it was classical music or entertainment, but I mean music, entertainment. I play violin for recordings and bands and stuff like that in Nashville, all that. So my industry was not something that everyone thinks is a tech industry, tech type or a high-tech industry. But my market was serving people with entertainment through music. All right, so if I were to leverage this, the first thing I would do is, of course, start looking for jobs in the music industry. So if I were to do this back when I switched to tech in 2007, this would be along the lines of doing a music website. The websites were big in the late 2000s. Phones were not really, there were no apps yet when I switched. So websites, web apps, web applications, that's what I would do. In fact, in my first tech job, I made basically websites for banks. However, I was assigned to a highly artistic website for a company. I forget what it was called, Soul something, but it was dealing with sneaker collectors. So it was a really creative, and I think coming from the arts, the music, I was tagged as being, I was very creative. So I would make a website that was super creative and interactive, and they loved it. So that did not necessarily help me switch, but when I was interviewed, my background in music played well for me, because they knew they had some customers and clients that were needing some creative design. And so that was one way that in my career it played out. I'll tell you another way. This is um, let me put this here because I'm going to dive into another comment. Do not hide your previous industry from your resume. Highlight it briefly, but don't hide it. All right, I'm going to tell you why I'm writing this. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Whew. Thanks for bearing with me as I learn this. I am very, you might say, oh, Brooks, this guy is not very professional with his presentations. I will tell you, I am trying to be pragmatic and helpful mostly, and not trying to win awards. All right, so I wrote this: do not hide your previous industry from your resume. Highlight it briefly, but don't hide it. The reason I say this is because dealing with my own career, because I was in music and they noticed it briefly, I think I would even put that I've served someone. I would not I would not spend a lot of time in your resume, maybe one line to indicate and hint. But when I got into interviews is when I noticed that my alignment with the music industry was very, very exciting for a lot of these developers that I was working for. So in interviews, they would ask, what did you do before? Because they're always curious. If you're switching your careers, they're going to be curious. They would ask, and I would say, I was in music. And instantly there was rapport. You may not have the exact same response depending on your industry. However, I do know that when people are curious and you share your background and you're proud about it and you don't shy away, it gives an air of confidence over the table, over the Zoom call or whatever you're using now. So do not hide, do not be shy, do not be embarrassed about your previous industry. And I see people all the time, they will hide this, and they will say, I don't want to share or expose that I have not always been doing high-tech jobs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking the type of people you served before. So you might not want to share that you mowed lawns last year and you're 35 because that's all you can make money doing. You may not share that, but you may share that the people you mowed lawns for, they were in my case, in the music industry. I served the music industry, So that's not something to shy away from. So your market or industry, and whatever it is, what it is right now in your mind. You might be saying, I feel like I'm in a conflict of interest in my current market when I'm trying to get into tech. No, tech applies to all markets. In fact, my background has come back, and I'm kind of sharing with you a threefold story, what it was like for me to switch at first and how I didn't hide that I was in music because people knew I was new, and they knew this thing here, this face. You probably can't see it on camera, but my face did not look like a 20-year-old. I was in my mid-30s. So they knew I had something going on before. So don't hide it. Share the industry you were in. Second of all, after you don't hide it, if they ask about it, be proud about it. You don't have to share that what you did, everything you did, but the market that you were in was very exciting. And my third part of my story is that these days, now that I'm in the tech industry, I'm doing tech work, every day. My interviewers, there's so many applications dealing with music that those who are in music, they see it as a perfect blend. So today is different than when I got into tech. Everybody either has a website or app, or they need project management, or they need quality control, or they need team management, or they need HR, or they are going to need front end development or back end, or any automated testing or manual testing. They need all of these things for every single market. Every market. You could be in the trash and recycling industry, huge industry, and they have apps. They need someone managing the apps. They need someone making them. You could be in the art industry, and art is everywhere today digitally. So don't shy away from your market. All right, so I've dwelt on that enough, but now let's talk about these variables. Getting back to the variables. All right, every other variable should be up in the air. So let me share a little secret with you. I did have a client this year in my strategic mentorship program who was looking at all of these variables and was unwilling to be flexible on some of them. Just because, we all want to hold out for that perfect position. But as soon as, I won't tell you which one of these he flexed on, but in his area in Arizona, he flexed on one of these and he wasn't willing to flex before, and when he did, boom, he got his position. So let's start up here. On-site or remote? Ooh, cool. Okay. I guess I'll do that. On-site or remote? We've got a situation where you might be looking for a job that's totally remote. But if you then say, okay, I'm willing to also look for on-site positions, boom, you might find some things. It could be a temporary situation. So you say, I want to be on-site, and I want to be contract, and I want to be short-term. That might be the exact opposite of the type of variables you would look for. But when you start looking in that way, you might find opportunities that you had your eyes closed to before. Location. I want to take a job in a sunny, snow-free location. So I'm looking for jobs in Miami or San Diego. Okay. Well, if you're not finding anything, maybe that's because everyone else wants a job there and you need to look at a different location, maybe closer to where you live now, for me in the Twin Cities. The other bonus that you get here by looking at just a location, I could spend a lot of time talking about this. I think I've filled up 2 hours of training in my mentorship about location. Just because we're looking for keys to unlock your first tech job, you get so much benefit from staying in the location you're at because you know the area. Start being flexible. So one of the things that I did not write here is using a recruiter or not. If you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to find a job on my own, I don't want to mess with recruiters, and you haven't found anything yet, you've just been over here, say, okay, I'm going to stop looking for jobs on my own. I'm going to actually look for a recruiter to help me. And I'm going to look for jobs where a recruiter is offering them, because she might be able to help me get a job. And this is where pairing the location and the recruiter, I've paid many months of mortgages, payments, and food bills by doing that. I'm just giving you the straight up. I am flexible. And that is how I got into tech. And how I had a rough bump when I started. I was in for 2 years, and then all the world banks went down in 2008. They went down, and then our industry, our market, we were doing websites for banks. It got trimmed down to the bone in 2009. So 2009, I lost my first position. I had already moved up into a managerial position from being a coder, and I was still coding, but Anyway, that's another story for another time. But after that, then I had to be more, it taught me to be flexible. So I think many times people who are first looking into tech, they don't consider all these, and they start to just put together like the perfect plan, and they follow the perfect plan, and they stop being flexible. And the problem with that is you start to look you start to look past some of the leverage you don't know you already have that others do not have. So let me put another Brooks quote down here. I don't know what to call these. Okay. You have flexibility being a first-time changer that other people who are looking for their first job do not have. I'll add to that. You not only have flexibility, you also have leverage. Don't throw this in the garbage. Okay, boom. Let's talk about this. You have flexibility. Why do you have flexibility? Well, you currently have a career. You can take some time and figure this out and be flexible and change. You can change all of these parameters in your job search and push on them and keep going and do apply to 5 jobs that are on site in your local area. Where other people, they're already working on site. All right. They're in tech already. They're already a UX designer and they're already working on site and they're really looking for remote. You're going to gap fill by looking for this, for example, or full-time. You have a full-time career right now. So when you're looking for a tech job, you might say, it may be worth it for me to get my foot in the door to do part-time. You cannot be picky. You can't afford to be picky. But the other people can afford to be picky that are already doing the tech jobs that you're doing. So you are an easy person to get because you're willing to be flexible here, or you're willing to take a contract when others aren't. That's when I worked for Mayo Clinic for 6 months on a 6-month contract. Hey, I was willing to do short term. Why? I was hungry. Not only that, that was my highest paying per hour contract. It got extended by 12 months. So it ended up being 18 months. And I got Mayo. I got Mayo on my resume. Mayo Clinic, guys. That's huge. So you're looking for short term. Look for short term. If you're not willing to do that, I don't know, how it's really tough because you're throwing away another career, you feel like. Remember, you could always go back to your other career. That's the other thing. That's this flexibility you have. So let me encourage you in that way. The risk is so low for you to switch, guys. Also, you have leverage. What leverage do you have? Right up here, you've been serving people for, some of you have been serving people for 2 decades. You're close to 50. Maybe you're right over the 50 mark. The people that are in college don't have that. The people that are in college don't have that. And they don't know if the hiring manager doesn't know if the new person straight out of college is going to not even come to work. I hate to say it, but generations work differently. Here I am, nobody's on the call, and I'm still doing it. I didn't cancel, or I was tempted, but I'm older, so I feel like I have to keep my promises. And some of the new generations don't, you know, there are stars in every generation, but I'm just telling it how it is. Hiring managers wonder, because I've kind of worked with hiring managers. They wonder if people who are new to the market are going to know enough about the market, or even new to tech, or even new to a job, are going to complain about having a certain job at a certain pay, but you're not going to. So, if you're looking for a word of encouragement, this is it. Don't be embarrassed about your previous industry or market. Highlight it briefly, but don't hide it. And don't assume that your next job will have the same parameters or agreements as your first one. Okay. All right. So I guess this whiteboard can go down. I should have known that, guys. All right, for this first masterclass here, I want to just say, again, no one's here on the call. We did have people take this, but I want to just say, if you have questions about this, then ask them, and we'll see what we can do. Maybe it'll be another topic in another masterclass. I'm going to try to do these more and more. Let me offer you something. All right, let's focus on this now. Here's the offer. All right, so audio should be up. And what I'm going to offer you is, some of you can't make it today because you're busy, but you have paid for this masterclass, and I want to reward you for that with not only the information I just gave you, but also with an offer. I am going to, I have a mentorship program that is, it is $5,997 for 6 months of a strategic advisory program. I'm working with you every week. Twice a week we meet for 6 months. And during that time, I correct your assignments. I check up on your questions. I help keep you moving along. I keep helping you commit to yourself every single week with tracking your data. Are you performing today, every single day, the way you should be? Your goals get set up so you have a path. You're using, this strategy is just one small strategy in the rest of this program. Anyway, I have that. And so I would like to offer you a discount on this, and that would be $3,000 off of my $5,997 offer. So this would be $2,997 total. If you are watching this and you are taking advantage of this offer within 7 days of this recording, so before November 25th, 2023, today is November 18th. All right, I will honor that. If you have questions about that, just message me. And that is the offer there. All right. Thank you for joining this and watching. And if you have questions about that offer, would you let me know? Thank you very much. Hope to see you the next time.